This episode is sponsored by the new MS in Business Analytics program at Chapman University's Argyros College of Business and Economics. In just 10 months, this STEM-designated MSBA program will equip you with cutting-edge skills in machine learning, data visualization, cloud infrastructure, and more. You'll not only analyze data, but learn to tell compelling stories that shape the future of business. Located in sunny Southern California, Chapman University offers a unique learning experience at the intersection of tech and creativity, with specialized courses in areas like entertainment and real estate analytics, and access to an extensive alumni network. The MSBA program prepares you to lead in any industry. Are you ready to unlock the power of data and make an impact? Learn more and start your journey today at chapman.edu/MSBA.
Hi everybody, my name is Tori Nguyen. I'm with the class of 2026 with the Argyros College of Business and Economics. We are so happy that you are tuning in to Campus to Career, and let's kick it off with our first question. Kendall, you have so much experience, so tell us a little bit about your journey and where you are now.
Well, hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast today. Super excited to chat with both of you. So my experience started back just before I went to Chapman. Summer going into college, I decided to start a YouTube channel where I was sharing like makeup tips and tutorials and all that kind of stuff. And it led to starting a blog and all the associated social media channels that went along with it, sharing content and working with brands. And it led to, in 2016, I turned it into a brand called My Styled Life. I still am currently doing that. So I post pretty much every single day on social media. And it was something that was really cool that provided me real life experience during my time at Chapman and obviously now as well. It's something that helped me land my day job based on the experience that I gained from that. While I was doing that, I was going to school. I was a business administration major with an emphasis in marketing and a minor in public relations. And I did various internships while I was at Chapman as well. And then upon graduation, I ended up getting a job with Mother's Market. And I started there as the content and social media manager in August of 2020. And then in end of December of 2021, heading into 2022, I was promoted to marketing manager. And then after that, just more recently in January of 2025, I ended up getting promoted to director of marketing, all for Mother's Market. So it's been super, super exciting journey, and I'm still running My Styled Life while I work as the director of marketing at Mother's. And my day-to-day there is just overseeing our entire marketing department, working with the other departments like operations and merchandising and such. And anything from email marketing to SMS, so text message marketing, influencer marketing, events, donations, in-store signage. We are brick and mortar, so we still have that type of stuff to do as well. So a lot of different things, but it makes every day really fun to be doing all these different things.
It's so cool that you have this, both your social media presence personally, and then you also have your professional engagement. Now, on that note, tell us a little bit about, how to build your professional reputation in a world that is all about authenticity. So how have you approached that, and how have you been so successful in that endeavor?
Yeah, I think first you really have to, I was like thinking about this from the perspective of someone who's about to graduate. Like, you really need to know yourself, what your values are, what your goals are. And that doesn't mean that those won't change in like 2 or 3 years, right? Some of your goals and stuff, those are definitely going to change. There's going to be goals you set now that you accomplish and you move on to the next one. There's going to be goals you set that end up changing and becoming something completely different than they were originally intended to be. And then you accomplish those. But for right now, like where you are, knowing what your values are, what your goals are, so that you can show up as your authentic self. And then what I always recommend doing is, as you go out into the world and you're trying to network and find a job, especially in this job market where it is a little bit more difficult to find something, you really want to look at what value you can provide to others. Based on the experience that you have. And you might go, well, like I haven't really had any work, like true professional work experience. Maybe I've done a couple internships or this or that. But there are so many different ways that you can provide value to people. So like, let's say you're out networking and you're chatting with somebody who's been in the career field a while, but they're saying, oh, I'm having this issue. Like, we really need to focus more on our social media, but we don't really know where to start. Or we're having this particular issue. If you're knowledgeable about that, offer like, hey, like, let's meet up on a different occasion and let's chat about it. I would love to help you out if I can understand your problem and see if I can help you with that. And actually follow through. Don't just like say it and forget about it, but actually follow through and set that up, do it. And you want to do that with the expectation that like you're not going to ever get anything out of this. You're just doing it because you want to help. And down the line, I'm telling you, those connections that you establish just by offering to help with no expectations, those are going to be the ones that help you out in the long run. I know that I remember one of my big takeaways for when I was in actually one of Professor Nicholas Muir's classes. We had to read an excerpt from, it was a book by Adam Grant. I'm totally blanking on the name of the book, but it was about givers, takers, and matchers in the world. And that takers, they want to get out of the situation what they need, and then you might never see them again. A matcher is like, hey, well, if you do this for me, I'll do this for you. And then the givers are the ones always in the long run who are better off. They have the most connections, the most people willing to help them because they truly just gave in a situation, helped somebody else, offered, hey, I can do this for you. And then down the road, they're not expecting anything in return, but down the road, they might need something and they reach out to this person like, hey, you work at this place, like I'm looking to get a job there. And people are going to remember what you did for them. And so that really, that's my biggest piece of advice is be a giver. That doesn't mean be a people pleaser or say yes to every single little thing, because obviously we're all busy. But where you can give, you definitely should.
Wow, tons and tons of gold there just in itself. Everything is a give and take. We have to be kind to others and good karma will come. In terms of that experience that you've had, did you learn or would you like to share those things about your Chapman experiences? What perspective did Chapman give you on your life? Did we change anything for you?
I think one of the biggest takeaways from my time at Chapman was really on how to be a good leader. I think when you get out into the corporate world and stuff, you realize that there's like a lot of actually really bad leaders out there who just, I don't know, they just didn't learn. They're just doing things like, this is the way I lead and that's how it is. Like, and I think one of the biggest things I learned was that a really good leader actually adapts their leadership style to the people that they're working with. And they understand like, okay, this person thrives better when I provide them maybe a little bit more detail, or this other person, they like if I'm just like, here's the project, like do what you do and like let me see what the outcome of that is. So I think it's really being able to adapt to whoever you're working with, and that was something I really learned in the MBA program. There were some leadership courses, and then also as you're working with people, especially in a leadership role, you want to always make sure that everyone feels seen and heard. Obviously, there's a lot of decisions you make that you, as the leader, just have to make the decision, and you maybe can't get the input of other people. But on decisions where your team can be part of that decision-making process, I always love to ask them, like, hey, well, what do you think we should do? What's your take on this? And there's times where the outcome of that is I end up going with one of their ideas. I end up combining my idea with one of their ideas, or end up going with just my original idea that I thought we should go with. But people at least then feel seen and heard because they've had that opportunity to present what they think about a situation. So then ultimately, like, even if I decide, you know what, I'm going to go with what I originally thought as the direction we should go, they're going to be more okay with that because they feel like, you know what, I was involved. I did value their opinion and such. And I really feel like that's, yeah, being a really good leader is definitely a big thing that I learned at Chapman that really not only changed my professional career, but I just think it's something good in your day to day in your personal life as well.
Awesome. Let's switch gear a little bit and talk about the topic of the times, AI, which is really changing the world that you're in with digital marketing in many different ways. If it's about content generation or about optimization of campaigns and so on. If you're an undergraduate or you're an MBA student right now, what do you think, what are some of the tools that you should invest in? What do you need to understand to be prepared for this AI revolution as it pertains to marketing in the real world?
Mhm. I think, first of all, you need to have a lifelong learning mindset because it's rapidly changing. Like every day, there's something new, some new AI trend arises, and everyone jumps on it and needs to do that. So, understanding that, like, you might right now feel like I'm the AI master, and 6 months from now, like, it could be completely different. So, definitely having that lifelong learning mindset. I think that you can follow accounts on social media where they teach you these tips and tricks. It's even like there's accounts like that on Instagram that just teach you, for example, Instagram tips and tricks, like on how that algorithm is changing, right? So there's tons of accounts where you can just learn how to improve your skills on the platforms like ChatGPT and such. So keeping up with those trends because they're changing like literally every day. There's new rollouts of what the systems can do, and it's hard to keep up with all those changes. So if you follow accounts that basically then feed you, hey, have you seen the latest update? Definitely helpful. I think another huge thing, you can take courses, especially on how to write your prompts, right? Because really what you get out of AI is what you put into it. We've done this a lot at my work. We use it on a day-to-day basis. We use ChatGPT, and we've learned like that the more information we give it, the better result we get out of it. And it's, yeah, it just saves a lot of time. And there's tons of courses where you can learn on how to become really, really good with your prompts. Um, Also, a big thing in the corporate space is learning how to manage up when trying to use AI more in the workspace. Um, there's some companies that flat out don't allow it for security purposes, but if your company is one that that's not the case, but maybe some of the people, maybe your boss, or their boss, like, is kind of anti AI, because that definitely exists in the corporate space, and you want to ease them into that. So definitely learning how to manage up to show them, hey, like, here I did this way, but I also did it getting some help from AI, and like look at how much better this outcome is. Like I really think we should try to incorporate it a little bit more in our day to day. That's honestly probably a big hurdle for a lot of people going into the corporate space. There are a lot of people who are very against using it, or they're fearful of it, or they don't know how to use it, so they just like, oh, we just shouldn't do it because we've always done it this other way. So definitely focus on learning how to manage up, and also think critically about the outputs that you're getting. There's a lot of times where I use AI where the answer it gives me, I'm like, wait, that's not true. Like, let me check that. And then I'll even write back to it like, this isn't correct. And it's like, oh, you're right. And so it's like, oh my gosh, it doesn't have always all the correct answers. So you definitely still have to think critically about what you're putting in and what you're getting out of it. Um, and then also going into the professional space, remember that personal connections still really matter. Networking still really matters in this era of AI. Nothing beats a personal connection with people either. So just keep that in mind as you're working on things like your resume and all of that. Like telling a story is still really important.
I've watched so many of your YouTube channels and your YouTube videos, and I love the editing and the process that goes with it. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a content creator, and how has that role taught you to become an independent worker?
establishing something yourself, being a content creator, definitely involves being really good at time management, especially if you have a full-time job like I do outside of it. But even when I was at Chapman and creating content, like trying to balance being in class and doing homework and studying for tests and all that. So you have to be really good about time management and also prioritizing. These sound like really basic things, but at the end of the day, that's really what makes or breaks your ability to continue to post all the time. Making those decisions of like, okay, I have work, my main job, and then I need to create the content and edit it, but I also want to have a little bit of a social life and still get sleep, and like balancing all of that. It's hard to do. So definitely coming up with a good schedule for yourself, and just realizing like how hands-on things are when you start something yourself. Like you wear all of the hats. You are in this case like the content creator, you are the IT team, you're going to be, in my case, like reading contracts, so like the legal team, and realizing you're going to at first at least be doing it really all yourself. And so you learn so much, and that's really what helped me land my full-time career, is just all of this hands-on learning that I was choosing to do outside of school. I learned so much about social media and content creation, and even so much about like legal. You take a business law at Chapman if you're in the business school, but like nothing prepares you for when you get that 20-page contract from a brand and you're like, oh my gosh, like what does all of this mean? Like I have to figure it out. And so yeah, it's something I always encourage everyone, like if there's something you're interested in starting, like do it, because even if say you only do it for 2 years and you throw it in the towel, that's not ended like ultimately what you want to do. You're gonna learn so much from that. So much more than even if you just like did an internship for somebody else, because those types of things, you're coming in, you're doing the work and you're leaving. When you have something that's yours, you're thinking about it like all of the time. But also that's like a great mindset to take into these other things you're doing, like an internship or a job or whatever, to be thinking about those outside of the area, the hours that you're at work, right? You might see something on social media and be like, oh, wait, that's like a really cool trend. Like I could apply that to work. So yeah, I've learned so much through starting my stud life, and I'm planning to continue doing it. It's so much fun, and it's great working with all these different brands, and it really does help me in my day job as well. Kind of just like cross applying things that I learn in each job.
That's awesome. Hey, the one question I had for you is, because you did both your undergraduate in business at Chapman, and then you did your MBA as well. So how do you feel like, what is like the added value of doing the MBA, compared to having the undergraduate background in business? I think a lot of our students that are thinking about that, they wonder that question.
Yeah, I think for me, undergrad gave me all of the foundation, like the key concepts. And then the MBA really taught me how to apply those concepts. And what was cool, so as a 4+1, you're going into it, it's a little bit of a different perspective than a regular MBA student who maybe has worked 3 or 4 years and then, or even more, and then is deciding to come back and get the MBA. And so that's a hard decision to decide, like, am I going to do the 4+1 or not? But for me, it was really beneficial because I did have some experience between internships and my stud life. So I wasn't going into it with nothing. And I learned so much from the people that were in my classes. And I feel like it kind of fast tracked my experience. Like I didn't gain it necessarily in a professional career, but I gained it from these other people that I had projects with, that I was with class on a day-to-day with, and that I became friends with. A lot of people in the MBA program like are actually my lifelong friends now. I see them on a weekly basis. Because a lot of us are local here in Orange County. And if there's something I could tell you, like once you're in it, if you've committed to the MBA program, definitely also make connections with the executive MBAs. I had some of them in some of my MBA classes, and those connections are really, really valuable. Those are people that you might not normally have access to outside of school, and they're willing to help as well. Don't be like afraid. Like you're all part of Chapman together, a part of the business school, and I know there's a couple who really helped coach me through the interview process, like as I was just graduating and going out into that space. And I wouldn't have had access to those people if I hadn't been part of the MBA program. And so they coached me through each individual step of the interview, negotiating salaries, like all of that kind of stuff. And it proved to be really, really helpful for me. So I think the connections that you make during the program are also a huge, huge part of it, which is also about how much you put into it. You know, the connections that you come out with, how much you're pouring into that. So I definitely think it's worth it. And I really enjoyed the 4+1. And I was still in that school mindset from undergrad. And so I just got it done with. There's obviously benefits as well to waiting and getting more work experience and then going. But yeah, overall, I had a really, really great experience and I highly recommend it.
Wow, that's amazing to hear. Hey, we have been talking to Kendall Stein today. She did her undergraduate here, graduated 2018, and then her MBA as well at Chapman, class of 2019. And she is currently the director of marketing at Mother's Market. And we really enjoyed the conversation with you today, Kendall, and listening to all the success and some of the advice that you have on so many different topics. So thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to continue to follow your success as you move forward with your marketing career and moving up the ranks. So congratulations so far, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much for having me. And I would love to, anyone who's interested, I would love to connect on LinkedIn. And if you want to chat about anything related to marketing, my career, or anything, like feel free to use me as a resource. I would love to help.